Hello and welcome to the new video. In today's video we're going to take a look, not at a specific Pokemon, we're going to take a look at a theme team here today. We're going to have the current Rocket Leader and we're going to take a look at all of their shadow Pokemon, which is going to be the Alolan Marowak, currently found by Cliff as far as I know. We're going to have the Alolan Muk there as well as a shadow, which is from Arlo, and we're going to have from Sierra the Alolan, I want to say, it's not, it's just the Drapion, Shadow Drapion here as well, and so we're going to have a triple shadow team, which makes sense. We're going to take a look at the three Pokemon from the Shadow leaders there, so surprisingly we're going to have a triple Shadow team here, but also we have actually a very solid team. And honestly, the Pokemon that I'm most excited about was, of course, the Alolan Muk, because you don't see it that often. And I honestly kind of want to go back to showcasing Pokemon that you don't really see, but that maybe has a little bit of play. And we have Acid Spray Alolan Muk here, and honestly, it was quite a lot of fun to play this. Of course, we have this time around quite a unique way of what the Rocket Leaders have, because what you see is at least two Pokemon that are top tier meta for the Open Great League. Like, we have Marowak, which you need. This Pokemon is ridiculous. In my opinion, this Pokemon is broken. I honestly think this Pokemon is the main reason why I feel like a Mud-type nerf should exist and should come for the next season. We're going to have Drapion, which I don't think needs to get a nerf or anything like this. But it's so good, like this Pokemon is just so good. Like it doesn't feel like fully unfair like Marowak feels like a lot of times. Mine doesn't really, because mine doesn't have good IVs, but this Pokemon was the only one that I had before and I still didn't get a good IV variant yet. But it's quite unfortunate because it's very much needed for tournaments and I kind of want to participate in the EOIC, so yeah, that's gonna be a bit tricky there for me. But yeah, basically we're going to have very much PvP orientated shadow Pokemon currently, and usually you have like some pseudo legendary in there like Dratini or Bagan or something like this, and this time around we just have PvP Pokemon, and so it kind of was a natural thing that we want to take a look at a team here with all three together. But it's also a natural thing here that we're going to have weakness, because guys, what is a theme team? Like, a theme team is not designed to be perfect altogether for PvP. While we have an AB style line, which I like quite a bit, where we have a Say-Stop of Drapion, which is access to Awkward Tail, which is the main reason, by the way, why this Pokemon is the good, is the Awkward Tail, because it's gonna allow you to counter the only type you're weak to. Like, Poison and Dark is such a great typing, and also such a great archetype for a lot of teams, because you see a lot of Poison and Double Dark teams or something like this. The only weakness to it is Ground. And Ground is weak, usually at least, unless your names like something like Torterra or Gastrodon. You're usually weak against the Water type. And so, yeah, like that's the issue, like why maybe this Pokemon is so busted, to be fair. And like you see, Drapion basically on nearly every team and play Pokemon tournaments. It's just because of the nice amount of bulk that you have, the spamminess that you have. Poison Sting, which recently got buffed, was a ginormous benefit for this Pokemon, and then the perfect coverage for your weakness. Or also like, yeah, here again, ground type Pokemon, we have Awkward Tail coming through for it. Then again, of course, this team is not going to be able to perform like a normal team. You're always going to have a bit of weaknesses there. But honestly, it was a very solid one there. I should maybe try to catch the move there. I tried to catch the move, but I thought the opponent would go for an extra fast move still. They didn't, and so we're going to lose one. Could have won this maybe if I caught the move, but it was a bit of a tricky one. Anyway, we're going to take a look at the next opponent. Great Lead Force, they swap out straight away into the Feraligatr. This is, by the way, one of the reasons why I feel like the lead of Marowak is like such a busted Pokemon. You actually would be able to win this in a two-shade scenario. Feraligatr cannot win against Marowak in the two-shade scenario if it's Shadow and Marowak is Shadow, and that is something that should just not be the case. Like, that doesn't make sense, man. You have a Water type. And this Pokemon can just fully farm you down. But not only this, like, your Marowak is also going to be able to get to a charge move I think on average it is every 10.5 turns, I think it is. So, like, it's insanely spammy. Like, it's not even that it's, like, slow or anything like this. And, like, the charge move of Bone Club, again, is going to be actually quite hard hitting. It's 55 damage. That's really, really solid for a 35 energy move. Like, it is not that this Pokemon doesn't even have, like, charge move pressure or anything like this. For me, I think this is the main reason why Rockslide actually got nerfed, was the buff of Mud-type and Bone Club for Marowak. And at the end of the day, I feel like it would have been better to keep Rockslide kind of where it was at and just don't buff Bone Club, instead of just creating this monster here that is just so ridiculous. Unless you're going to resist the ground typing, this Pokemon is just so strong. Here we're going to have now Shadow Drapion against Shadow Drapion in the mirror matchup. We have to overfund by a little bit here if you want to, like, we have to get to 2 Awkward Tails basically. And at the end of the day, I didn't want to risk a CMP tie, and so I'd rather go for the double Awkward Tail now. They let the move go through. It's going to be the Digger Spin in the back, and we have to hope that our final Pokemon is going to be fine here. But I cannot stop out yet. They're going to be able to go for the full farm now. Hery still survive the hit here. Hery still survive the Scorching Sand. We can, and we also can farm them down and win the battle. That's going to be very nice, as we can now move on to the next opponent, which is going to be weak against our lead. And let's swap out again into the Feraligatr, and to be fair, this time around I stay in for a little bit, because I want to get the opponent a bit lower. Like, at the end of the day, I should be able to even go ahead and maybe catch a move. We could catch a move here. I could also see here that the opponent is getting very, very low. Maybe I would have been even able... Nah, this is not 5 Poison Sting range. I think Poison Sting doesn't do enough damage. So I think it was the right play here to go into my Muk, which is going to be able to go for the full farm down against the opponent. We haven't seen too much from Muk yet in this video, but trust me, there are going to be moments today still where Muk is going to be able to destroy opponents basically on its own thanks to the move Acid Spray. And we're going to see here the opponent still having to go for a charge move, which is great, because guess what? We still don't have our lead, which has the super effective damage coming up here with the Bone Club doing a nice chunk here. Let's see, they're going to let the move go through. It's not going to be enough to knock them out, but we can go for one more fast move, and in the back is going to be Corviknight, which now has to deal with our Drapion, but thanks to the crunch, we have a very likely even the chance here to debuff the opponent, 30% chance. We don't get the debuff here straight away, but I'm fairly certain I can still survive a hit here from the opponent, and so I let the move go through. Sky Attack is coming through, the hardest hitting move that Corviknight can go for, and we can still survive and go for another crunch. And that's like the issue with Corviknight. You would like to see Sand Attack getting like a damage buff or something for this Pokemon to actually work out, because you just don't have fast move pressure. That's the issue with Sand Attack. Sand Attack is a Fury color clone, and you just don't have the fast move pressure, which is quite annoying for it. But as you can see here, we're gonna go for a Rock Slide, and it's gonna be enough to get the KO, and we can move on to the next opponent. Dragonite, that's going to be a pretty awkward matchup for us. This is the thing with this team, we are Triple Shadow, and our main damage source is going to be a ground type, and if we find a flying type that has a lot of fast move pressure, it can be quite dicey. What we see here now is that we can use a shield. We're going to be able to get both shields from the opponent, but what do we do next? We have to go into our Muk then, and try to go for the full farm down. The opponent has a ton of energy here still in this Pokemon, and I'm just going to hope that they're going to be weak against my Marowak in the back. And that's going to be my play. I'm going to decide to go for the no shield. I decided to go for another no shield because I would have got to 2 moves anyway. So like we would have lost the matchup most likely anyway there. But we still have a shield advantage and they have the Azumarill. Not too bad though. If the opponent is going to be weak against us in the back, which can be quite easily the case, because a lot of times you would pair a Dragonite with a Steel or a Poison type Pokemon to counter Fairy type Pokemon. And those 2 types are weak to ground. So I'm still hopeful. I'm still hopeful at this point. We're going to be able to... I have to overfarm by quite a bit, and I have to go for the CMP type. I would have not been able to go for a double Bone Club there. I would have not been able to get to 2 of them, so I needed to basically get as much fast move pressure as possible to get the most amount of energy and the most amount of damage onto them. But as we sadly see here in the back, they're going to have the Ferrothorn, which is sadly just not going to be enough for us to knock them out. We have a Steel type here, which I predicted, but sadly it's the worst Steel type that I could have imagined, and so... yeah, we're not going to be able to knock them out here. Any other Steel type basically would have been fine, unless they would be flying as well. But yeah, this is going to be it for this battle. We can move on to the next opponent. Yeah, a bit of a weakness here for ice and ground coverage on this team. The opponent gets a free fast move in here. This should have never happened. I don't know why this happened. Like, I lost apparently 2 fast moves then for swapping out. That is really, really weird, because usually you need 10 turns to get to... the crunch, +1 for swapping out is 11. You always want to be -1 from the opponent's turn. 4 ice shards give you 12 turns, so you always should be able to just go straight for the crunch and have perfect alignment in terms of your fast move and don't waste any energy basically with it. But this was not the case here, and I have no idea what happened and how that happened, but it is what it is. Anyway, we're going to see a Nidorina coming in. Nidorina revealed that they have Thunderbolt and Stuff return, which allows us now to align ourselves kind of better, because we know that we're going to be able to resist all of the hits of Nidorina. And we see the opponent with the spiciest team I've seen so far, Bayleaf here. Cool Pokemon. Bayleaf has really good stats, just really misses kind of, I don't know, like a bit of a better fast move. I feel like Magic Leaf deserves a buff for the next season. I would like to see a Magic Leaf buff, I have to say. Give it more energy or something like this. I actually want to see if Magic Leaf is kind of close to where Astonish currently is, or the other move, what's called the Mud Slap, because I feel like this would be kind of cool for it. But currently, sadly, the Magic Leaf is just not a good fast move. And here we're going to see one of the battles where Muk is going to come in clutch, because we're going to be able to go for the shield and the full farm down. And this is going to be great here. As we will see here, Dragonite is coming through, we don't get the debuff as well, which is going to be lovely, because now we can go for the Acid Spray, knock them out, and win this battle. So yeah, we can move on now to the next opponent, and Magical Leaf is basically the same as Astonish, but -2 damage, which is kind of awkward. Or for Mudslap, it is... Yeah, okay, Mudslap and Astonish is actually the same move, which I did not know for whatever reason, so that's cool to know. That's most likely why Astonish is like such a common move there as well. It's just like so overpowered in the 2-shield scenario. But yeah, basically Magical Leaf would need a 2 damage increase in order to be close to that, or like be the same as that. But also Grass is not a really good offensive type, which is the issue with it. Just a good defensive type. That's why you see it mainly on like Pokemon like Superior, which is quite bulk. And because water types are so common and ground types are so common, like grass types are still very okay offensively, but usually it wouldn't be a good offensive type. But yeah, anyway, that's what I would definitely like to see a Magical Leaf buff. I would rather see an energy buff though compared to the damage buff for it. Also, in order to maybe make my favorite Pokemon that I have in my collection, kind of my favorite Pokemon, my 100% Shaman a little bit better, which I would love to see for the Master League. Anyway, Morpeko here against us. They go for some baits here, which is really unfortunate because we had -2 defense now with our Muk, but trust me, Muk actually is really solid. We will be able to get the defense drop onto the opponent here, but not only this, we're also going to be able to go for the full farm down now with my Muk, and look at the fast move pressure that we have with Shadow, Alolan Muk against the opponent here. They're gonna go for the area ace, but that's fine because we can go for the full farm down and we can move on to the next opponent. We will see here the Marowak against our Marowak, and as we have a backline that's double weak to ground typing, we of course have to stay in here, and we're gonna try our best to go for the full farm down. We have to use a shield here. I don't really want to risk it because I need to get the opponent quite in a low health range even then, in order to get the full farm down with the rest of my Pokemon here. As we will see here, the opponent is actually going to use a shield, and I'm going to not shield this one because I know at this point the hard answer to my backline is going to be gone. I actually get some energy advantage here as well, hoping that I could use maybe the Marowak later on in order to catch a move, and we can go for a crunch here. This crunch is going to connect and gonna get the defense drop at the same time, which is really important because now Awkward Tail is coming through, and I try to basically keep everything onto the Alolan Muk. Alolan Muk is going to be an interesting Pokemon. Hopefully it's going to work out for us. We have here the Awkward Tail coming through. We have also the opponent farming us all the way down, and Muk is trying its best, and we can catch the move here, which is really important. It's going to be the Ice Punch. This is why we kept our lead alive, and now it's down to Muk with a shield advantage against Toxapex, and I decided to go straight for the wrong move basically here, because I go for the Acid Spray, because the thing is here, we have fast move pressure the entire time from Poison Jab, which we still have to use as well, and Dark Pulse is going to get buffed as well basically, and so I'm fairly certain that this is the best play that I can go for. Muk is going to do some nice damage here as well, and we will see that we're gonna be able to not farm them down by 1 HP basically, which is really unfortunate, but it is what it is. Good game to the opponent. We can move on to the next one. I actually do think that I overfarmed by 1 fast move with my Muk, which maybe actually cost me the battle, because if I went for the Acid Spray straight away basically, I'm fairly certain I would have been able to just maybe knock them out there. But I think it was definitely the right call. Acid Spray, Dark Pulse, generally speaking, there from the Muk would have done 31.6% damage. And if the opponent is at a -2 defense here, it does basically 47% damage, so like 1.5 increase, plus the fast move is increasing. So I think it was the right call, but it still didn't work out, because maybe I was like the 1 fast move delayed. Anyway, we're going to have another Mirror of Drapion. It's important to use your shield basically on your lead here, because it is so important to keep the lead alive. The lead is very needed for a lot of Pokemon. But again, there's actually a very solid synergy with this team as well, honestly, battling against ground-type Pokemon, because you're going to have the weakness on the lead, of course, against water types, where the most common one is Feraligatr, which has Shadow Claw as a fast move, which is great for your backline. Or grass-type Pokemon, of course, where the backline is just pure poison anyway, so like it's going to be fine for you there. So this team actually works really well. Here we were able to catch an Aureel and also allow us to knock out the opponent's Morpeko, and they only have the Drapion left, and you know what? Our Muk is going to love this one quite a bit. And so this is honestly like the longer the video kind of goes, the more Muk is going to do, and hopefully it's going to also be the case for the last video here. Final one, we're going to see here, Wiggly tough against us. That is going to be okay. We can actually just play this one out. I don't think there's really an issue with this one. As you're going to see here now, the opponent is going to yeah, use shields, which is fine. We can go for the Aqua Tails, and I'm honestly not too worried about this matchup, as I know that I still have my Muk in the back. We got use. I should have maybe used the shield here, actually. This was a mistake by me. I should have used the shield. But I can still go for the full farm down with my Marowak, which I feel like is a very solid play. They're gonna go back into their Corsola, a store 1 move, and they can swap out here just to get out the Dewgong. That's actually okay, because this is an okay matchup for us, and Dewgong is something that I don't want to face with my other Pokemon in the back. And so Dark Pulse is coming through, doing a ton of damage, which is really nice to see, and we can use a shield here. It's going to be very likely the Icy Wind, and we have to use another shield against the Icy Wind. At the end of the day, any kind of move from the Dewgong is going to do more damage compared to what the Corsola is going to do. But you know what's kind of funny? I make a bit of a mistake here, to be fair. I sure went for most likely the Acid Spray there, but I decided to swap out thinking that maybe Dark Pulse spam is going to be great, and I might be able to go for the 2 Dark Pulse depending on how much damage the opponent does. But it turns out this is not going to be the case. What is the case is that we can go for a double Bone Club here, which I guess would have been cooler if we had the debuff onto them already, but it's fine, because they're gonna go for the Nightshade here, and I have now 2 Acid Sprays stored in the final battle. It's gonna be us double Acid Spraying the opponent. First one coming through, double debuff onto them, CMP on the next one, and this Acid Spray is going to be able to knock them out, and we can win this battle. And this is gonna be it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I will see you then. Bye bye.